10 years as a temporary employee is tough for the average person to deal with in a situation like this. Closure of this refinery means that more than likely I will be going home with little to nothing, because 10 years temporary in the eyes of the company, you're not permanent. Now, because I've been in the company for that long, working 4 years on the port and 5 going on 6 years in the fire department, I got the opportunity to touch many different departments and get a feel as to what goes on in the departments. And I can tell you, Petrotrin's mismanagement runs deep. So deep that when it comes to turnaround, shutdown, repairs, basic repairs, they are below standard for what a refinery calls for. And when we look at that and we translate that into everyday running, we then realize that Petrotrin walks a fine line between functioning and falling. We have seen time and time again that oil spills that should be mitigated by an oil company were left to run to the extent of affecting not just the community on the fence line, but also the environment. Time and time again, we, fire department, along with safety and security personnel, have to go out of our way to help the community and surrounding neighboring communities that are affected. And this has brought a lot of grief to the people surrounding here. You all would be the first to be affected, the most impacted individuals in this entire country. With our absence there, you all would not have certain things, such as the use of the ambulance, air quality checks, gas emission checks, patrols. We could only function within our capacity based on what is given to us. We cannot do things outside of our scope. We need clearance, but basic things need to be fulfilled. And this community is at the forefront. So when you think that you don't work Petrotrin, you don't know anyone who works Petrotrin, so you may not be affected. We all know that you all will be affected. With our absence there, who knows what could take place. Petrotrin has shown that they are being misguided at this point, with the government taking this stance of putting the cart before the horse. They went down the road of closing, quote unquote, because as far as we are concerned, the refinery is going to close. That is the information that we are getting. It is going to close. It makes you think that the information has already passed us and the deal has been done. But we cannot allow this to continue. The arrogance shown by the chairman, by our Prime Minister, does not sit well with any of the employees. We are now seeing a point where Petrotrin Fire has to be on high alert because of potential sabotage. You cannot tell workers that in the next month or 2 months or 3 months, you all are going home and expect people to sit back and say, okay, no problem. We got a document yesterday that said that the transition period would begin from the 1st of October. We don't know how long that transition period will last. The transition could be a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, we don't know. And we don't know what it involves because there's a lot of secrecy surrounding what is going on and the affairs of this company. Misinformation seems to be high on the agenda when it comes to the government putting out statistics and facts along with the media. We have heard things like a cleaner makes $10,000 in Petrotrin. What people don't know is Petrotrin doesn't hire any cleaners. Petrotrin contracts out all their cleaning and housekeeping work. But yet it is being pushed that Petrotrin workers are grossly overpaid. And this is where the public begins to feel less sympathy towards a Petrotrin worker who loses his job. Why? Because they look at us as we are overpaid, underworked, and we are the ones that are responsible for this country going down. When they cut gate funding, HDC housing, when you can't get medicine in the health center and the hospital, it comes back to turning us into the villains. We are the ones that are responsible. And I can tell you, that is not the case. Petrotrin is making money. We see it every single day. The plants are running. People are working hard. But yet somehow it doesn't translate to profits. Why is that? Why is that? We have seen time and time again contracts being given out to friends and family at exorbitant rates. It makes you wonder how it is they are getting away with this. Why is nobody being held responsible for these things? I could say, as a firefighter, what we could see taking place here is that refinery being a time bomb. It is already walking the fine line between succeeding and failing. And I have to say that it is thanks to decades of proper running, not necessarily because the plant is forgiven, but because the operators out there know what to do. They know what to do. And they are some of the best operations staff that you could get in this country because that refinery is severely outdated. And it doesn't take much. We have seen minor emergencies turn into huge catastrophes. And it is only when it breaches the walls of that refinery and impacts you all out here, then it makes news. Everything that happens inside there, we deal with because that is our estate. We take that to heart and we do not allow anything to happen to our bread and butter. We fight. We run into situations that most others would not. The government firefighters have no clue what goes on in that refinery. Dealing with hydrocarbon fires, very different to residential and private property. So I want to call on the residents in the back here to show your support to the workers, because this is not going to be an easy fight to keep our jobs. Thank you.